Hi there, it's Rosie and welcome to my channel. So today I wanted to talk about how to prepare your pelvic floor for birth. Um, and I guess you're saying at the moment, oh, we know it's Kegels. But no, it isn't always Kegels. And the reason why is often the Kegels or the squeeze and release exercises that most antenatal classes and pregnancy exercise classes get you to do seems to concentrate and seems to create the mindset of it's the strength part that's important. And very often it's not the strength part, it's the releasing part that's so important. So many of us have a hypertonic, a too tight pelvic floor. And this, coupled with the extra weight of pregnancy and then the birth, um, causes the problems, the sneeze wee, the prolapse, the incontinence, the issues that seemingly are caused by pregnancy and birth, but are actually caused by a misaligned body. So poor posture, um, lifestyle habits that don't allow natural and full rounded movement. So um, in my pregnancy classes and birth preparation, there are no Kegels involved. It's all about creating a balanced, a functioning pelvic floor, a pelvic floor that can hold everything in that needs to be held in, but can also open and yield nicely and optimally when it's time to birth your baby, because it needs to open and stretch to allow your baby to come through and be born. So how do we achieve this? So the first thing is an aligned pelvis, a pelvis that is held in neutral when you're sitting, standing and moving. What's a neutral pelvis? Um, if you pop your fingers on your hip bones, and you'll feel that bony protrusion at the front there, and you find your pubic bone at the front, these 2 points need to be in alignment. So if you imagine if you were laying down in the sand, you would have 3 points, the pubic bone and the 2 hip bones. So that's an aligned pelvis. Quite often a lot of us have a tucked under pelvis, putting a lot of pressure here on the sacrum and coccyx, and putting a lot of pressure on the pubic symphysis joint here. And this is what causes the SBD, where the pubic bone, which is joined by ligaments, as the relaxin comes in, so that the pelvis can open slightly to allow the baby to come in. It actually, if you're always pushing forwards, it creates instability here and gives you that pain. Tucked under pelvis stops your sacrum and your coccyx from moving and opening to allow the baby through. So it's very much easier to get a bruised sacrum or coccyx, or worse, it inhibits the amount of room that baby's got to move. So a lined pelvis will not just create that nice functioning pelvic floor, but it can also inhibit and cause issues in pregnancy and during birth. Off on a slight tangent there, sorry about that. So yeah, aligned pelvis. What else is going to help keep your core from functioning is a reflexive, strong core. So even though your stomach's getting bigger as your baby grows, you can still work on making sure that your abdominal muscles are functioning and reflexive enough to be able to knit back together once your baby has been born. You also want to, strange as it may seem, make sure that you have upper body mobility and strength, because any issues or tightness that you've got in your shoulders will also cause issues in your pelvis and your pelvic floor. You also want to make sure that you get rid of any heeled shoes. No heels, not even a little bit, because shoes with heels cause you to move forward and to stand on the front of your feet, which is not good for any of us. That's why your feet get bigger or appear to get bigger in pregnancy, and also cause that pressure we were talking about in the front of your pelvis and your stomach. So get rid of heel shoes. So I'm just checking my notes so I don't go off on another tangent. And you also want to keep the weight back in your heels. So once you've got rid of your shoes, bring your weight back in your heels. I'm not sure. Let me put this down so I can show you. Can you see my feet? So you don't want to be standing with this angle of your legs and the weight all in your toes. Bring the weight back into your heels so you can lift your toes off the ground. That way you create, I'm coming back up again. It's all top modern tech here for me. That way you create the strength down the back line, which is what you want to be, where you want to be creating strength to help hold your pelvis in line. You want strong glutes, strong hamstrings, strong calves, and the only way you'll get those is by bringing, one way that you can get those is by bringing the weight back into your heels. So let's see, aligned pelvis, strong glutes, hamstrings and calves. You want a strong and reflexive core. You want to get rid of those shoes with heels. You want to bring the weight back into your heels. And the last thing is to bolster when you sit. You want to keep that nice aligned pelvis as you sit on any chair. You don't want to come down and do all this kind of slouching business, which is so bad for your back, your sacrum. Obviously, you're sitting on that now. You're causing more stress and tension and less ability for that to become mobile. So if you sit, I use a half dome. This is, if you can buy one of these are great. There's so many things you can use them for. You could use a rolled up towel, pop it on the chair, and you're just sitting on there with your sit bones so that you're bringing that pelvis into alignment. You see, it just rocks you into position so you don't have to use any bracing of the back or anything like that. It just naturally happens. It's wonderful. You also need to be aware, so many people get recommended to get a birth ball and to sit on these. You can still sit hunched and slumped on one of these. When you're coming to sit down on them, think about taking your bum back down first and then the rest of your body. And can you see you automatically got into that same nice pelvic aligned sitting position that you did when you were on the stool with the bolster. So that's really important. And you also need to make sure that your hips are always at the same height or higher than your knees when you're sitting on those. So that's it. Five main points that we work on when creating a pelvic floor that's ready for birth, and one that is not going to cause you to have sneeze, pee or prolapse or incontinence issues either during pregnancy or after pregnancy. So the last thing, I am running weekly pregnancy and birth preparation classes from April. If you are interested, if you're local in Suffolk, East Suffolk near Ipswich, if you're local then and you'd like to come along, then please let me know. I'll put some contact details below and you can give me drop me a line and I can let you know a little bit more about them. Otherwise, I hope this has been helpful, and I will speak to you next week. All right, bye bye.